Malcolm Turnbull seems to want to deflect the fact, and it is a fact, that he used the 30 consecutive negative news polls that Tony Abbott lost in a row as justification to tear down and overthrow his then leader. Now let's be accurate. It's on record. Malcolm used the negative polls to oust Tony Abbott and gain the plum Prime Minister's job. Now that Malcolm is nearing the very same damning result, having lost 28 news polls in a row, he is trying to infer that the polls don't matter. How fucking convenient. Clearly Malcolm is a liar, or at best, a manipulative worm, and will say anything that suits him on his power trip. What a two-faced, untrustworthy slimeball. What is good for the goose should be good for the gander. The problem Australia faces is if the same standards Malcolm upheld were now to apply to himself, and assuming the next 2 news polls are negative, which is highly likely, we are then probably faced with having Peter Dutton as a Prime Minister. God help Australia.
A little while ago, I met with the Prime Minister and advised him that I would be challenging him for the leadership of the Liberal Party. The one thing that is clear about our current situation is the trajectory. We have lost 30 news polls in a row. It is clear that the people have made up their mind about Mr Abbott's leadership.
Your personal popularity has dropped 50 points since that day. You can't not be bothered by that and not be asking yourself what's gone wrong.
Well, Lee, let me say this to you. I am focused on the interests of the people of Australia. I realise within the political and media bubble there is a lot of interest in polls and a lot of people navel-gazing in introspection. But right now, I'm the Prime Minister. My job is to deliver for Australians. I've noted the polling, Lee, but I don't take any notice of it.
The PM says the polls just don't stack up. In recent times, the opinion polls have not proved a great indication of what finally happened.
We have lost 30 news polls in a row.
He said in a pre-Christmas interview.
It's fair to say, what is the metric? You know, is it still a metric? If you have 30 bad polls, you're gone.
Well, that's not, Neil. There is no such metric. That was a.
It was.
No.
We have lost 30 news polls in a row.
Many times now it's been pointed out to you that you've lost 18 news polls in a row, and one of your justifications for calling a spill against Tony Abbott was that he had lost 30 news polls in a row. At that time you said that it was clear that the coalition was on a trajectory to lose the next election. You are on the same trajectory, are you not?
Well, I disagree with that. We'll win the next election.
But you've lost this 18 news polls in a row. This is the standard that you have set for yourself.
No, well, Lee, again, I'm sorry that you're not interested in talking about energy prices. I'm really not interested in going along with this sort of political commentary.
Can it deal with the polls, improve the polls? Can you win the next election on this?
Neil, the only polls I'm concerned about are the poles and wires that network companies are charging too much for.
Cannot believe it. What a bloody fool he is.
But for his old boss, today's numbers are ugly. Newspoll has the Turnbull government losing 47-53 after preferences, Malcolm Turnbull's 28th successive poll loss. Just 2 more and he's at the 30-poll benchmark he used to overthrow Tony Abbott as Prime Minister.
I never turned the polls into the ultimate test of leadership. It was someone else who did that.
He did that.
It'll be up to him to tell us all why the test doesn't apply in his case.
Worse for Malcolm Turnbull, the better Prime Minister numbers. The PM's one saviour in polling has been his popularity lead over Labor's Bill Shorten. The gap, 14 points just 1 month ago. Today, it's 2 points.
I'm the photographic coordinator.
Laughing with his new Nationals ministers.